Hey everyone, it's Pam and I'm here with my monthly update video letting you know everything that I was up to in the month of November. This has been a little bit of an uneventful month. I did go to Retro Game Con in Syracuse at the beginning of the month, which was a good time. It was just a 2-day convention, which I actually ended up only going to the show on the Saturday and then just leaving first thing on the Sunday. But it was neat. There was a cool vendor floor and arcades and things. They had this great little setup that looked like an 80s basement with like the wood paneled walls and the CRT TV that was really cute. I've played some arcade games there. I played Dragon's Lair, which I never played, and I was really excited to see an actual arcade cabinet, and then I found it absolutely impossible to play. Like, I could not get through the first button prompt or move or whatever it is in the game. I just didn't understand what was going on, so that ended up being rather annoying, but it was a good show. I met John Riggs for the first time, and he's super nice, so that was cool. I didn't take a picture because I'm terrible about taking pictures with people, but yeah, that was basically all that really happened in terms of November. I find that once daylight savings time comes around, my productivity just goes like right down the tubes. Whoever came up with daylight savings time should really be drawn and quartered because it's fucking stupid and I hate it and it makes me miserable all winter. But yeah, so mostly doing a lot of laying on the couch or laying in bed watching TV or playing games. So yeah, that's also why there was less videos last month, but hopefully things will pick up in December. Let's move on to shoutout. So for my shoutout this month, I'm going to urge you to check out Linda's channel called Linda, aka The Gamer Girl, which is honestly quite a mouthful, but she has a sort of variety channel all about games. She does all kinds of things from skits and lists to unboxings to short videos of her sort of playing and commenting on games as she goes. All of her videos are a lot of fun, and she just looks like she's having so much fun making them, which is really nice to see and sort of makes me feel good to watch them. Some things I particularly like, she's done a number of sort of sketches with JLove81, who also has a great channel that you should check out, all influenced by In Living Color. One really good one was Women on Games, and I really liked her Halloween series that she just did a couple months ago, highlighting scary games that you should play on some systems. I think she did PS2, Game Gear, and Atari, and I was particularly impressed with the PS2 list because I thought that was a system I knew a lot about, especially about horror games on it, and she picked out some scary games that were quite obscure to me, a number of which I hadn't even heard of before, so it's great to learn about some new games from those videos as well. So please, if you're interested in more fun gaming content, check out Linda, aka The Gamer Girl. So this pickup section is going to go quite fast since I only had one pickup all month, and this came from Retro Game Con, and it is an addition to the vinyl collection, and it is the Metroid trilogy soundtrack. I love these Moonshake releases and how they copy other album covers. This is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness from the Smashing Pumpkins. Beautiful artwork on the front. It has the soundtrack of Metroid 2, Samus Returns, oh, so much glare, and Super Metroid. And yeah, I really like the soundtrack of the game. I have been playing Super Metroid recently as my first Metroid game I've ever played, and the soundtrack is great. Not as familiar with the other two, obviously, but yeah, a cool one to add to the collection and a good segue into what I've been playing. So I have been playing Super Metroid over the last month or so. It's actually taking me a little bit longer than I thought it would to complete it. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I do plan on making a review of it in December, but so far it's going okay. I was doing pretty well, I thought, and I've kind of hit a brick wall on the Ridley fight, which I hope is near the end of the game. Nothing had been overly challenging other than finding all the little secret paths and blowing up random walls and stuff, but I got to this Ridley fight and I spent an hour on it yesterday and I have no idea how close I am to finishing it. I hear he needs 30 Super missiles, I only have a maximum of 30 super missiles, and I think you need 2 to get into the room, and I definitely don't have 100% accuracy, so yeah, I might have to backtrack, get some more health, get some more super missiles and things, but yeah, so you can look forward to a review of Super Metroid sometime in the near future once I finally get past the end bosses. I also finished Children of Morta, which I think I mentioned in the last video. It's I guess you'd call it an action RPG, even though I wouldn't call it an RPG at all, but it plays very much like Diablo, sort of overhead, kind of isometric view where you play characters in delving through procedurally generated dungeons, getting money and loot, and being able to upgrade your skills and things by leveling up. And it was very, very good. I found that the story was very intriguing. I found that the pixel art was just beautiful. The game was gorgeous to look at, with the exception of the very tiny UI and text, which I also mentioned in a video from last month about text size in games. But overall, I definitely recommend the game. I do find it a little strange that I think there's 6 different characters all from the same family that you can play as, and the ranged characters, and this is probably just a personal preference, but they feel much more fun and also much more powerful to me than the other 4, which are all melee-based characters. I found myself playing the archer 90% of the time, even though I did dabble in the others, because as you level up one character, it sort of buffs the rest of the family, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I did find a little unevenness in the power and the enjoyment of the characters that you can choose from, but it is nice that probably has something that will fit anyone's playstyle. But the thing that I really liked about it was that in these procedurally generated dungeons, there were all these little events you could find. You could find other people in danger and you could save them. You could find little items that you could take back to your house that would decorate it. You could find letters that would open up lore, even though the text was too small and I didn't end up reading those. But it kept it so that it didn't feel so repetitive, sort of going back into these dungeons over and over again until you were strong enough to make it all the way to the end boss and beat it. So it really kept up my interest, because those little story bits and those little interactions that would happen randomly were some of the best parts of the game. And you'd also get story opening up back in the house after you had died each time too, which just was really good at keeping me engaged and keeping me interested, whereas in another game I might have gotten a little bored with the somewhat repetitive gameplay. I think I also mentioned Outer Worlds last month, and I continued to play it through November. I have decided to retire it, which is kind of disappointing. I was really looking forward to this, hearing that it was from the people who made the original Fallouts and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I had very, very high expectations for the game, and it just didn't meet them. It's kind of weird because everyone says it's basically Fallout in space, which is correct. It's Fallout in terms of gameplay, except much, much prettier. It's just, I don't know, the story is decent. There's some characters which are fantastic. One of the first ones you get, Parvati, she's a fantastic character with great voice acting and a great little personal side quest story. But when it gets to the actual act of playing the game, it's just so boring and so, I don't know, it's just like ineffective how you play. So the gameplay is basically like Fallout 3 or New Vegas or 4, very floaty, very weightless. You know, you run up to someone and hit them with a machete and there's like no feedback, no anything. They don't flinch. It's very unsatisfying. They replaced VATS, which was the combat system in Fallout, which was like pause time and allowed you to hit particular parts of the body on your enemy. They took that away and just add like a very short time slow, which isn't as interesting to me. The game's UI is terrible. The inventory screens are terrible. The crafting is stupid. There's way too many items. There's not any good way to sort your items. The weapons are just like entirely redundant. So while I was interested in seeing the story, like I didn't want to play the game at all. I found playing the game just completely not fun. So yeah, after maybe 8 or 10 hours, I decided I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna cut my losses here, which is unfortunate. I know a lot of other people have really been liking the game, but it just didn't do anything for me. Another game that I had been highly anticipating was Afterparty, and this is by the same people who did Oxenfree, which is a game I really liked. The sort of key mechanic in both games is their dialogue system, where it attempts to be much more natural, where you can kind of like interrupt people, or you can fail to respond to people and they'll just sort of keep talking. And again, I was a little bit disappointed in this one. The story behind it is that two best friends I think they've just graduated from college and they're about to go off and progress their lives. One of them is moving away and they both die and end up in hell. Someone tells them that to get out of hell, they have to challenge Satan to a drinking contest and then they can possibly leave. So the whole game is about trying to get to the point where you can challenge Satan to a drinking contest. And it seems like a fun concept. It seems interesting to have a game set in hell, but I found it a little empty. The new mechanic they add in this one is a drinking mechanic where you can order different drinks from the bar and they will give you a new conversation option. So there's like a pirate drink that will make you talk like a pirate. There's a drink that will make you more confident, or a drink that'll make you an asshole, and then you'll get a conversation option that does that. And I just found that it didn't really have an impact on anything. Like there's some times where you needed that drunk conversation option, but no matter what drink you had, it always seemed to progress the same way. Like I had a quest that I specifically failed because of a decision I made, but the characters are just like, oh, well, whatever, I'll give you what you need anyway. So it seemed like none of your decisions really made any impact on the game at all, other than I think there is some branching of like what characters you'll interact with. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, a little empty. The relationship between the two characters wasn't as interesting as the one from Oxenfree, and I really ended up missing that spooky component that Oxenfree had, that creepy radio and like the exploration of this island. That was really hooked me in Oxenfree. And in Afterparty, it was just, I don't know, everything seemed a little emptier and less meaningful. So it was okay, like I didn't hate it, but yeah, compared to Oxenfree, it was just a little bit disappointing. I found a new FMV game called Erica on the PS4, and it was pretty good. Compared to a lot of the other sort of modern FMV games, it was neat. It was very much the kind of interactive movie, but they tried to add a little bit more player interaction to it. You actually play it with your cell phone, which sort of surprised me since it's a single player game. I know in multiplayer games they have the app so that many people can play it at once, which is really cool, but I wasn't expecting it for a single player. But it did mean that you got to like do more actions. You just basically used it as a touchpad, so you would like turn doorknobs and flick your lighter and things like that on your phone to just sort of add a little bit more tactileness and interaction with the game rather than just making those key decision points. And the acting was very, very good. The main actress was good, except I just couldn't stop thinking of her as like a mousier Emilia Clarke, but it was good. The story was neat, and yeah, overall it was pretty good. I'd actually like to play it again sometime to sort of just go on a completely different path to see where it goes. But yes, if you like those sort of interactive movies, then Erica is a very good one. I've also been playing My Time at Portia, which was free on Game Pass, and it's, you know, one of those Animal Crossing-like games like Stardew Valley or something. Honestly, it's a complete time waster, and I don't generally like this type of game, but given my lack of initiative or productivity, it's something that's sort of easy to play. I can just lay down, play the game, watch ASMR videos on my phone. Yeah, not productive, not even that enjoyable, but just, I don't know, something to do. And lastly, I've been playing Pathologic II, which is absolutely fantastic. A lot of people have put out videos on this. I will probably make a video about it myself at some point. It is tough, it is punishing, it is really good. It does the thing I love, which is make you make choices. There's a time limit every day, and you can't do everything available to you, and you just have to deal with it, and I love it. It's so weird, and it's got these great sound effects and great music. You're playing this doctor in a town that is broken out in the plague, and you're trying to save as many people as possible, while also keeping yourself healthy and fed as resources just decline and decline and decline, and you realize you don't have enough medicine for everyone, and it's just so good. I love suffering in video games, and this makes you suffer a lot. So yeah, I'm going to be playing that more soon. I think I'm about halfway through it right now. So that is it for what I've been playing. If you have anything interesting that you've been playing or any good pickups, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to check out Linda, aka the Gamer Girl. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.